breaking news. The FBI has released photos of a person of interest. That is correct. A person of interest is now being put forward. And wow. And this is something that, well, thank you. What's up, C-Mac? So this person of interest situation has gotten so, got everybody jilted. In the Charlie Kirk situation, that they believe that this person is definitely the one that did it. They have surveillance video out. This is a professional hit, buddy. Like somebody took everybody's, this is a professional hit. Like that 70-year-old guy. He said, I told you it was one of his own followers. I don't think it was a follower of his. Well, it's people that follow what he say. They see the shorts. He says a lot of wild things. I'm not somebody that listens to him a lot. This is, he had a lot of clips go viral of him saying that, unfortunately, we need a couple of, shooting deaths a year so that we can get certain rights. It's a lot of things he said that got people jolted. And when you do that shock media thing, and you're going to need security up the wazoo because you don't know who and how many people, but this thing seemed orchestrated. That they waited for that person to ask that question. That person who came up and started talking about trans stuff. And next thing you know, he spoke about civil rights being a huge mistake, saying Dr. Martin Luther King was wrong. He made a lot of statements that were very incorrect or very one-sided and very naive. But like I said, I didn't agree with a lot of things he said. I haven't heard it all. In the last 24 hours, I've heard that much more. When people are posting stuff. But what's not cool, people, is let's not make fun of people that dies. It's not, if that's not our culture, we don't do what we despise other people doing. That ain't something we supposed to do. We don't disrespect the dead. We don't give more pain to their family. That's just ridiculous. It's savage. We're not those type of people, so we don't do that, or we don't relish that type of behavior. So let's not go into that realm, because that's not who we are as people. Now, let's get to what the report is.
Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. Let's get right to breaking news. The FBI is asking for help identifying this man who they are calling a person of interest in the shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Sources tell ABC News ammunition found with the rifle was engraved with messages about transgender issues and anti-fascist ideology. Meanwhile, President Trump says he plans to speak to Kirk's family this afternoon. Our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, has more on that. Pierre, what's the latest on this photo?
Diane, well, here's what we have and here's what we know. This picture is being put out by the FBI and law enforcement because they believe this is a person that they very much want to talk to. I'm told by sources it's from surveillance footage in and around the area where the shooting took place. And you can see this appears to be a male person wearing sunshades and a baseball cap. The FBI very much wants to talk to that person, and they're asking for the public's help in identifying this person so that they can get access to them and begin to interview them. Again, they want the public's help to identify this person so that they can talk to him. This person is being described to me as a person of interest, someone they very much want to talk to. And Diane, what you see unfolding, what you literally see unfolding, is what we were discussing yesterday, is that the surveillance footage was going to be the key to the case. That's what my law enforcement sources were telling me last night. They believed that when they canvassed the campus and the areas around the campus, that they would be getting images of the suspect moving about, or a person of interest moving about, I should say. In this case, this is someone that they think could have information about the attack, and they want to talk to this person.
Yeah, we heard authorities saying this morning that they had good video in their words, and now it looks like we're seeing some of those images come out. Aaron, what more are you hearing about this rifle that they say they think is the murder weapon, and then that ammunition?
It's a bolt-action rifle that was recovered, and there was a spent cartridge still in the chamber. There were also unspent cartridges, and when they looked at them, they discovered what law enforcement officials described as writing containing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. That's how law enforcement officials describe it. We don't know what that means, and law enforcement officials haven't made clear what that means. They are still working to determine what that means and how it might figure into their investigation, and they are still working on analysis of both the bullets and the gun itself.
And I want to bring in Justice Department reporter Alex Mallon, too, because, Alex, earlier officials revealed some other evidence they found in addition to this gun and ammunition and these images. What's the latest on that stuff, what they've gathered at the scene?
Well, yeah, they said that they made substantial developments in their investigation. They said that they were able to track the path that the shooter took. They say that he perched himself on that rooftop at 11:52. That was about 30 minutes before the shot was taken at Charlie Kirk, that fatal shot. And then they traced his route that he took. He jumped off the roof of that building, they say, and then went into a nearby wooded area where obviously you heard Aaron there talking about. He appears to have placed that rifle wrapped in a towel and then went through the neighborhood. They said that they spoke to multiple witnesses.
Now, I want y'all to see something. Look at his arm. I don't know if you guys can see his arm. But if you're like me and you can see his arm, you can see he's not grabbing the rail. He's using his forearm, which is covered by his shirt, to lean against that bar and walk up. That's the right arm. He's leaning it up against the bar, and he's going up the stairs. He's not grabbing it with his hand. He never uses his hand. He's not leaving fingerprints. Yeah, his family and where he grew up is about at least, I would say, 10 minutes away from me. He grew up in Arlington Heights, Illinois. His mother, his cousins, they all live out here. So Arlington Heights, they have, flowers and stuff out there for his family. I didn't go over there in case, dude wasn't finished. So I'm like, look, I'm not going around there. Dude might have a personal thing against the Kirks. Let me just stay right on over here. Ain't nobody going over there. Yeah, of course, he was a Bears fan. His last video he did before he went out there, he was shitting on the Bears. And he was 100% right about the Bears. His family was excited that they going to the Bears might be going to Arlington Heights, where they live. But if anybody had a motive or a reason to do something, or angry, it's just like when they came and got Dave Chappelle. And I was saying, like, they making fun of it, like they're comedians, they gonna joke about it. I said, that was a warning. I was like, Dave's playing with fire. Dave need to chill out. It's just so many people like Dave and they love Dave Chappelle. But Dave, I'm like, Dave, you gotta chill. That was a warning. When that dude went on stage and they cleared the lane for him to just run straight up on stage and tackle you on stage, that was a warning for you to stop. Some people highly vested in you don't want nothing to happen to you. You generate them too much money. Now, because to do something like that, you got to get permission. Oh, Dave he went in heavy on the trans community. And then he kept doing it on his stand-ups. And they were getting furious. Yeah. The driving joke is what did it with the alphabets and all of that. Actually, that joke has been told in different ways and different variations for years. Dave Chappelle has actually used that joke in different forms. Somebody else used that joke, and Dave Chappelle stole that joke. And then they come to find out Dave Chappelle had used that joke a long time ago before he used it that night. It was just reformed different. And this guy was like, yeah, Chappelle's been taking my material. It's like, no, he's actually used that joke way before you even thought about using the joke. It was in his earlier materials. So he just reworked the joke into what it is today. No one wants to see somebody perish. But if you look at his hands and it's not touching that rail, either he's a germaphobe or, he could be that guy. And to me, I'm aware that Turning Point USA exists, and they try to get the young people in the church, him and his pastor. The pastor just flew down there to be with the family. Him and his pastor, they joined together to make this church. And he's down there with the family now. And they try to get the church people, the young church, goers to basically vote Republican.
Or neighbors in that neighborhood to try and get the Ring camera doorbell footage to see if they could further track his path that he took after carrying out that shooting. But obviously, based on the comments at that news conference, we heard from the FBI official there. They said that they did not anticipate having to release any more footage of this individual. And now we hear, obviously, Pierre saying that they have released those 2 pictures. So it's unclear whether that means that they have any less confidence than they had 3 hours ago or less progress.
Now, the Democrats helped cause this mess. So now y'all get upset when they say Donald Trump caused something. But now when something goes wrong, you have no problem saying the Democrats caused something. When they say the Republicans caused something, you got a problem with it. But now you come right here and say the Democrats caused something whenever there's a tragedy. How about let everything play out before you start guessing political parties? But let's just say it's the left. I would leave them alone. It's Democrat or die. That vote or die by Diddy shirt look for real. They ain't playing around. They busting all the shots. If it is them. You got it. All right. I'll vote Democrat. Y'all busting slugs out here. All right. You got it. I ain't say you gotta be sympathetic to him and all that. If somebody disrespectful and they going down there, most of these people do it for the attention, the limelight, and that's a problem in America, period. This man was very condescending, said a lot of things, but I don't return people's hate with hate. I don't do all that. That's not in my repertoire. If you come in my direction with venom, you're going to get the wrath of God. That's what you're going to get. You're going to wish you never came in this direction. But we don't acquiesce in that. We don't do what they did back on to them because we didn't like what they did. So if you ain't like what they did, you don't do that back. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of him or his work, but he at least gave some people the chance to come up there and debate him. So it was free speech. Okay, you want a free speech battle with him? He'd set the stage. Like, I'm gonna prove my point. You come up here and debate me, and we can have a debate. But to me, it was, a show thing. You're debating people that really don't have the information to battle you and debate you with. Nobody asked you to windmill for somebody. Nobody, like I said, I don't agree with this man's views. Some points he made that was, yeah, that's right. Some things was ignorant. He made some very ignorant comments, condescending comments, things you don't say, things he don't even know about. I'm like, you can't speak on Black issues if you're not Black. You wouldn't know what that's like. I can't sit here and tell you about Italian culture and what they really, I'm not Italian. I won't know what that's really like. right? I couldn't tell you what it was like for them in the Holocaust. I couldn't tell you that. There's a cultural difference that's in the way of all of that. I couldn't tell you that. But that man did not deserve to die like that. Period. There's rights and wrongs. He was not qualified to make those type of deflections about a man fighting for the civil rights of his people, because he doesn't have to go through that. He doesn't identify it. That stuff was way before his time, so he doesn't even know what he's speaking of. So he would never be able to debate that with real Black people. So it's just like I'm saying, it's a lot of things they do out here for show and entertainment. And that kind of stuff is dangerous. And when you push that kind of propaganda in the world, the kind of talk you're doing, you don't know who you're going to upset or push over the edge. Some of these people are on meds, off meds, need to be on meds, or something. You might just be, shaking the hornet's nest and pissing off the wrong people. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Press made towards tracking this individual down, Diane.
And again, as Pierre pointed out, what we're seeing here on the screen are images now just put out by the FBI of a person they're calling a person of interest, someone they want to talk to in relation to this shooting. And Jacqueline Lee is there on the campus right now. Jacqueline, what's it like there?
Hey, Diane. So it feels very heavy. We're seeing flowers are being put out as we're starting to see this growing memorial outside the university here. And the biggest thing we're hearing from students is it was just seeing the violence play out. So many people, there were thousands of people, more than 3,000 at the event, and they saw the bullet enter Charlie's neck and the blood splatter everywhere. People say that has stuck with them, that has scarred them, and it is traumatizing. And on top of that, the shooter is not yet in custody. So there is huge fear as to what could be next. People just don't know because unfortunately, whoever did this is still out there. But as we heard, there is hope given that authorities have now released a photo of this person of interest and that they have recovered the rifle in the woods in a towel. But the biggest thing is figuring out who did this, why did they do this? But on campus, it does feel very heavy. Diane.
And our White House correspondent Karen Travers is monitoring the response from the president. And Karen, President Trump says he plans to speak with Kirk's family this afternoon. He also announced he'll award Kirk with the highest civilian honor in the United States. What's the latest there?
That's the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Diane. And the president said today during remarks at the Pentagon for the September 11th remembrance ceremony that he will be giving that posthumously to Charlie Kirk. He said he'll be announcing soon when that ceremony will take place, but predicted it would be a very large crowd for that honor for Charlie Kirk, who, of course, is a very influential conservative political activist, somebody who was very important for the president getting reelected and having his second term here at the White House. He told reporters he would be speaking to Kirk's family this afternoon. He said his wife is a wonderful woman. Diane, he was asked about the investigation and he did not have much to say. He said pretty much what you're seeing on TV is what is happening. What you're seeing in the news is what it is. He said there is a manhunt taking place and we'll see what happens. And Diane, he finished his very brief remarks by telling reporters, we hope we get him.
So Pierre, what are you watching for next in this investigation?
If they saying we hope we get him, they probably know he's not going to be found alive if they do find him. And you're not getting away with a crime like that without resources and help. People who are helping you get to point A to point B. This person seemed to know exactly what he was doing. He only took one shot. So that lets you know he's a professional. He took one shot and knew, boom, get up, get out of there. He jumped off the roof, went into the woods, a wooded area where drones are not, they can't really see from above what he's going to be able to do. He left the rifle somewhere. And once he dropped the rifle and he went into a small town, that's when they lose him. And this person was assisted, obviously. It's just that he was in the belief that none of these things were going to bring harm to him. Like none of his statements, the rhetoric, or any of these things. That's why you got to be careful what you say. It's freedom of speech, but watch what you say. And that's what people have to realize. It's like it never should come to this. But when you make those type of stances and those type of remarks, you know, you activate people. You never know what's going to activate somebody to go in a way you don't even expect. When Tupac dropped Hit 'Em Up, people got activated. Right, you know, people like Jason Whitlock. Oh yeah, people heard Hit 'Em Up. Tupac was a target in New York. He made himself hated in New York. I'm not saying they was all ready to blast, but they were ready to get down because of that song. That's why the MTV Awards was so crazy and he had so much security because it was really thick at the time from a bunch of unknown people. They said, Jason, ask yourself, how would you feel to keep telling your kids dad is never coming home ever? Easy for you to type such garbage. I hope you feel great about yourself. I know, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You don't do the same thing that you didn't like somebody else was doing. If you didn't like what they was doing, why the hell you doing it? You're doing the same thing. So you justify what the hell they do. Like being sarcastic is something different. Like Jason Whitlock talking about black fatigue. Well, he just had black fatigue. So it'll be like, okay, well, I guess, people are having white fatigue now. All right, this is a white fatigue thing. It's ignorance. And then they're trying to use all of these different words like, oh, political violence. Political violence is not should never be tolerated. No, violence should not be tolerated. Violence. What do you mean political? Why does it have to be political? You sound like a robot. Political violence, political violence. Yeah, somebody gonna have fat fatigue on him. Now, well, these people are really like some of their views are like what they talk about. Like they'll get on the podium and starts blasting the rights of Asian people, the rights of everybody else, then go have Chinese food. like, are you serious? You just got through dumping on their rights as human beings. Then you turn that around and dump all over them. Then you eating Chinese food. So make it make sense. Views and likes. Yeah, that's what it's about now. And here's the part that really gets people, hot under the collar. But it needs to be said because there's so much wrong going on here. When people start looking and gravitating towards numbers and they start seeing what's happening, you look at a situation such as this, saying, oh, this is an American tradition. It's not an American tradition. It's a sickness. Right. He attacked race, color, creed with, ideologies that don't make a lot of sense. And the answer is not to take the life of somebody like that. You beat them with logic by educating the people against the rhetoric. I was in debate class when I was younger because I always knew how to cut through the rhetoric. In college, I took up debate and I needed it and didn't know I needed it. I thought because I can have conversations with people, like I talk to people all the time, that it's easy to debate until I actually got into a debate class and I was, whoa. There is a difference between speaking to 10 people or whatever, and now it's like a couple of hundred. That had a whole different effect. And I was like, whoa, I had to get used to speaking in front of crowds. I had to, focus and know how to set up the punches. I have to use the jab. I got to set it up, go dissect what they do. And I was best at dissecting they BS. It's like throw a lot of BS to try to land a big blow. And I'll be like, oh, that was it? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to dance with you and then I'm going to hit you with mine. and see if you could stand it. And they couldn't. So when you try to paint a narrative that doesn't exist, and it's funny listening to watching the movie The Great Debaters and watching a bunch of black folks in there watching that movie, not knowing what the hell they talking about in the debate. They just, yeah, that's right, you go, boy. That's it. Man. I'm telling you, it was exciting because I was like, man, this is funny because this is how it was in the debates. These people didn't know what we were debating. They had no idea what we was debating. They was just there to root them out. There you go. Join his ass up, Junior. I'd be like, you don't know what we was talking about, do you? The Democrats are evil. Then what are the Republicans then, Johnson? Are they the good guys? So you telling me the Republicans are the good guys and the Democrats are evil? I'm very curious, since you made it a political, right? You wanted to have that discussion. You didn't answer the question. You came with why Biden preemptive pardon no black people who risk their careers prosecuting Trump. No preemptive pardon. Who was arrested that was black that he had to pardon? The MAGA Republicans are lesser of the two, in my opinion, for black men. I think neither are good for black men, period. That's definitely true. You're better off being an independent than anything if you're black. Because being black doesn't really mean anything in the scope of what the Republican Party is about. Conservatives only care about middle wage, not age, middle wage and upper middle class. They have no care for anything below it. They're the problem. And because of that, they've created a system that they galvanize followers by following this whole trend instead of blaming the actual problem. They create the problem on blaming it on the lesser. See, here's what you don't understand. All right? The Democrats, the left, they are what you would call delusional. Okay? They're delusional. The conservatives are in denial. Those are the two. And I've tried to take all of your, now you could take that how you want, but it's the same thing. See, I'll give you prime example. The Democrats would say, or the left, they would say, we're going to get cleaner water, we're going to have better schools, we're going to have a funding, and we're going to do it together. They'll have a big party. And now here is Cardi B. Cardi B come up, Yeah, now everybody got see your bungles. She's gonna come out, she's gonna perform, they're gonna have a great concert. They're gonna say, man, they turned it out, boy. She know how to get down. And guess what? All of the stuff they just talked about, they were like, well, how are we gonna get it done? Oh, we'll figure it out along the way. None of it's gonna get done. Meanwhile, you just had a great party. And you had nothing was done. You're still in the same situation that you were going to be in. There's none of the stuff they talked about is ever going to be done. Now, the conservatives, they're in denial. They'll sit there and blame everybody on the left for everything. Well, it's them. Look at that person. He's a degenerate. Bill Clinton. They still talking about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton hasn't been in anything political in years. You still bring up Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, when we're going to see him on the Epstein file? Where we're going to see Bill Clinton? I'll be like, okay, if Bill Clinton's there, Trump was his friend too. Well, we're not talking about the president of the United States. If he was there, he was just there to be a friend. Okay, we don't know why Bill Clinton was there. We don't know if Bill. They are in denial. It'd be like, well, a Republican just went crazy and just, took out 15 people. Well, we don't know if he was really a Republican or did he just say he was Republican? Because I'm getting word that he wasn't really with the party anymore, and nobody in the Republicans really dealing with this guy. And I think he was leaning more towards the left's ideals. And they are in denial. Okay? The truth will be right in their face. They're going to turn it to somebody else. Trump do something, they're going to go blame Biden. But what about Biden? It's like, well, Trump just got indicted for this, and this. What about this? But you didn't say anything about Biden or Clinton. Denial. Okay? That's called denial. They're living in denial. The left are delusional. So both sides are definitely on the wrong side of the track when it comes to improving the country. This is why I don't get into political talk, because people, I'm not fooled with the song and dance. It's about policy. It's about what did you sign the policy for? We're governed by the policies, not by what they're saying on a podium. Trump will hold a kid with cancer. Come here, cancer boy. Look, come on. Yeah, look. We're going to give you you're going to be a deputy for a day. Look, he's got cancer, everybody. Feel sorry for him. Hey, look, he's black. I'm holding him. All right, there you go. All right, get out of here, cancer kid. And then he cuts funds for cancer. So the policy, he took money from cancer, and he's been cutting funds from everything, left and right. Like, well, let's trim some of the millions here. Let's trim some of the millions here. Well, we don't need that many air controllers. Let's cut them down. Let's cut this down. And where's the money going? All these cuts that he's making, where's the money going? It's not going to the poor. He actually took money from the police department. Cuts. This is legitimate. And y'all kept praising him, saying, my president put those tariffs out. He's getting the money. We trimming the deficit now. Okay, what is that doing for you? Is the gas going down? Is gas still high? I think it is. Is food still high? I think it is. I don't care about these people. I care that I got to pay damn near $12 for a box of Raisin Bran. I'll be like, look, you've been elected. You're the guy that's running the country. What the hell are you doing about Raisin Bran? I shouldn't have to pay damn near $12 for a box of Raisin Bran. Inflation has gone down. Tell that to the parents that's going to the supermarket and just tell that to me who just spent $65 on 2 pieces of meat, some milk, and Raisin Bran. Ask the farmers what's going on with them. If you think this is about color, it isn't. It's about caste. C-A-S-T. Caste. And it's worldwide. There are Black Republicans that won't deal with Black people who are poor. There are Black Republicans who are poor, thinking they're better than the other Black people they live around just because they're Republican, and won't have anything to do with it. So it isn't about race. It's about caste. Yes, you could look up caste and see exactly what it means. But in other countries, you got people that are the same race, India, but because they feel they come from money, they're in a higher caste than the poor and treat them differently, as if their money gives them status. Black people had their own political party, and then they threw them in jail. They threw the man in jail for trying to do that. We just have to learn to govern ourselves. By forming our communities, building our communities up. See, we had community leaders. We had people in our neighborhoods. See, people, they stretch their hands out and reach too far and worrying about the presidency and who's the governor and the mayor. Meanwhile, your block is a mess. Right outside your door, you're not talking to your alderman and nobody who's in your district. They're not going to listen to one person, but they're going to listen to a group of you. That's how blocks get done. And, you know, those block parties, when they had a block unified, they all have a meeting. They all keep their yards together. There's Black folks still doing that. They looked out for each other's homes. They had a neighborhood watch. They all chipped in together and had people watch the neighborhoods at night. TMZ is ran by Democrats. They pay big money to take down Black men. Yet they protect Justin Bieber and attack Chris Brown. Wake up. Here's the situation. TMZ is ran by a liberal system. Absolutely. TMZ is liberal. And two, yes, they do target blacks, period, in a negative light. They've always done that. And they will prop up people like Justin Bieber because that's the system they're in. Not everybody who's Democratic, like I said, Democrat don't mean black. When we were first voting, period, everybody black was voting Republican. Our first time ever voting, we were voting Republicans. The Democrats didn't want us to vote. Then one remark was made by the President Johnson, and everybody flipped and went from Republican to Democrat, and it's been like that ever since. So, yes, this before liquor was legal. If you had a drink, you was going to jail, facing hard time. Liquor was illegal. The prohibitionary periods. And now the Democrats seem to be the only thing that black people would vote for because they seem to give people that's poor a chance. No, it takes time. It takes development. It takes developing leadership in the community. You have to learn how to be a community leader before you can get up that ladder. They're never going to let you ascend because they know your path. Why do you think most of the people that get into these things, they have a checkered past or they have something about them that's just off-putting? Now, everybody put Charlie Kirk as a politician because he talked politics, but he was not a politician. Why didn't he run for office? You know why he didn't? You ever stop to ask yourself that, Johnson? Why didn't Charlie run for office? He was shaking hands with the president. You know why he didn't run for office? It pays too little. They said, oh, he would have done it one day. He was 31. He was going to run for office. I'm not talking about for president of the United States. He could have been vice president at 31. He could have been anything at 31. But he was too divisive for somebody who's supposed to stand for all. He was very divisive against groups. But he could rally young Republicans and brainwash them to get out there and vote by using the church and God, as if God only looks at Republicans. So therefore, yeah, but because Diddy didn't have a system around him. He didn't have the community around him. He just did it and then tried to extort the Democrats for the black vote. And by splitting them, you're basically helping the Republican Party. And I'm telling you, Democrats out here like Death Row Records. Y'all better look out. Stop playing with them. Oh, Dexter, you must have got here late. I told you, the Democrats are delusional the Republicans are in denial. You said who's the other person? A person they're not really concerned about. I think they probably found who that person was already. So they just said, okay, we found him. He's not the person we're looking for. But this looks like the guy that they want to talk to.
I want to be clear, and I want to use the language that they're using in what was posted online, just so our viewers and who are watching will know precisely what the FBI is asking for. Quote, "We're asking for the public's help identifying this person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at the Utah Valley University." And they give a 1-800 call FBI digital media tips, https://t.co as the place to reach out with information. So they're obviously hoping that there's somebody in the public that will recognize this person, know who he is, and report them a name so they can go find this person to talk to.
All right, Aaron Katursky, Jacqueline Lee.
Now, if I knew who that was, ain't no goddamn way I'm calling anybody. This dude just took somebody out from 200 yards. As soon as I picked up the phone, I could be dropped. Could be the wrong guy again. I don't know. I mean, the FBI know what they're looking for. And what I've seen just in these two photos then told me, oh, that's who they're looking for. And good luck finding him. You ain't going to see him to the next job. No, what you mean, y'all keep thinking I'm just talking about him running for president. Just coming out of nowhere, running for president of the United States. It don't work like that. You know, you got to do the ground roots. You know, you could be Speaker of the House. You know, you can get any political job. Start off, you got to build your following. Yes, he got all the people in his church and all of them, but those are the young people. They'll come out and see you and rock with you. They ain't gonna run to the thing and vote for you. They'll say it and forget to do it. They're young people. They don't follow politics and none of this stuff. All it does is create an atmosphere in which you could be taken out. No, he's not running for office because you're limited. First of all, you got a salary that's like what, 65,000, 100,000, whatever. That's no money for him for a whole year. I'm gonna take a job that pays me 100,000 for what? Why would I take that? It don't make sense. So he has an organization in which he can go around, do tours, and make tons of money. Being on the internet, doing this, he's going to walk away with about at least probably $400K a year. Or more. We're not even talking about the endorsements and the leg up he's getting for helping the president of the United States. So as midterms are coming up, which is going to be really important for the House and the Democrats, and this is going to be for the control of who's going to put what where. Yeah, well, that's what happens, man. That's what I told you. People in politics is crazy. And people learn how to govern and police themselves. Do you know we were better off? We were all completely better off in the 70s and 60s because we were organized. We were built. We were unified. We knew more about the laws in 1960 and 70 than we do now. You couldn't get one of us to recite a law. We knew every law in the book. We could tell them where it was at because it was survival for us to know the laws and say, hey, yeah, rule section 17-3 says this, that I can have that. I'm an American citizen. I have a license. I don't have a criminal record. I have this and this. So they said, okay, we're going to give you criminal record. So we were protected by the laws, and we had to know the laws. Democrats ruin TV shows, ruin movies, sports, and even video games. So much. What did he say? They ruined it so much to the point where Grand Theft Auto 6 keeps getting delayed because Rockstar is scared. Well, Grand Theft Auto is ridiculous, one, but if people want it, they like those type of games, then, they've been trying to stop those from when they first came out, and they keep coming out. And right now, you can go ahead and you might as well put the game out. People going to play it anyway. There's way more worse video games out there. They had a bootleg version of that for when they had it. It was on like Nintendo, I believe, or PlayStation when it first came out. I'm trying to think, what was it called? It was just like Grand Theft Auto. This is back like when Grand Theft Auto first came out, like Grand Theft Auto 1. No. I'm trying to think. When it first came, I think it's called Emergency something. It was just like Grand Theft Auto. It was like emergency in the streets. It's like a video game. You go out You go into the club, beat people up. It was crazy. State of emergency. Yep, there it is. State of emergency. I knew it had something to do with emergency. Yeah, it was state of emergency. So when state of emergency came out, that's when they was really pushing to shut it all down, because state of emergency was wild. I don't think I've ever played the game, like the story part. I'm just walking around, smacking people up, beating them the hell up, going in there in the car, punching people, going to the store. I'm like, state of emergency was just nuts. Oh, PS2. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, I knew I had it. Straight chaos, exactly. So that's exactly what it was. That game was crazy. When you see, what the hell? Oh, okay. When you see routines, I'm like, man, I hope that hitter didn't show up here. I'm like, look, man, I ain't got no problems with you, homeboy. I ain't tell him nothing. How many of y'all have heard the phrase black on black crime? Black on black crime. Mm-hmm. Now, when you look at the situation, you ask yourself a couple of questions and you say, all right, well, what are we doing here? You know, like, what are we going to actually say? Well, the world is different. Nobody's perfect, but we've all heard the words black on black crime, right? So if you heard black on black crime before and everybody is spewing that word and throwing it around like, yeah, black on black crime, it's just too much of it. So if it's too much black on black crime, then what is black on black crime? Black on black crime is a black person killing another black person. Then what is white on white crime? Why you never hear white on white crime or yellow on yellow crime, brown on brown crime? But black on black crime is echoed. And it's so much poison that they other black people will have that come out of their mouth and don't realize how ignorant that sounds. Man, we got to stop this black on black crime. I'll be like, man, we always hurting each other. I'm like, my goodness, I feel so bad for us because this is how much the brainwash has, set in, that we would actually say that as Black people. I'm like, do you know that they said that to get you to say it? You were like on automatic pilot saying these ignorant statements. And if they say it with conviction, like it means something, I was like, then do you Black on Black crime? I'm like, do you know white people? Who kill more white people? Is it Black? Is it Mexican? Is it Chinese? Who kill more white people? White people. Who kill more Mexicans? Mexicans. Who kill more Chinese people? Chinese people. Who kill more Japanese people? Japanese people. Everybody from their own race is killed more by the people of their own race. But when it's Black folks, oh, there's Black on Black crime. Yeah, they can look that up, but they won't. The Wire is gang violence. It's just criminals and killing and drugs. I can't stand that. But The Sopranos, oh, I love The Sopranos. Yeah, it was so good to watch these criminals kill people, kill Blacks, kill everybody. They used to complain if there wasn't somebody getting killed on The Sopranos. That was good family entertainment. You know who complained about The Sopranos? Italians. Saying that's not how we live. And they were very upset about the depiction. I'm so blessed to live in Europe right now. So peaceful. It's like a totally different world. Got my passport on deck. Hey, Europe got places that's even worse, buddy. Even worse. That's all I can tell you. Hopefully the area you in does not have this type of insanity. Yes, Europe is a whole different type of animal, buddy. Because see, they don't have United States laws. The Black woman found out real quick when she tried to go do her, I'm gonna go to Dubai with my girls, and she gonna try to turn up on one of the police officers out there. Get away from me! You know who you're talking to. I'm from. Oh, you're in Dubai, and you're a woman talking back to a man. Oh, they don't play that over there. You gonna learn real quick about America is not the world. They locked her up real quick. She was looking at hard time. Then she just wanted to go home. It's not Europe. Well, Europe, where they really discriminate against you. I've seen plenty in Europe. The same way. Black men get blamed for everything over there, just like they do here. Now, this whole thing went down and had nothing to do with black folks. I have not one heard them talk about white on white violence. I have not once heard about white fatigue. Well, it's not a dark cloud. Those are called sandstorms. And you don't want to get caught in any of those. You will not survive. Might be perfect to y'all, not me. Yeah, so if you want to contact the Salt Lake City Police Department, there's the number. You can contact them, inform them what's going on. If you recognize that individual, but believe me, if you recognize that man, you should definitely probably not be contacting anybody. I'd be like, oh, hell no. John tripping. I'm going over here. John is tripping. John be sitting in your house having a beer. John, that kind of looked like the shirt you was wearing, John. Got the same shirt as you. You know you ain't said nothing, John, since you walked in here. What's with that chain? What's with that rope? Why are you choking me, John? Now, the way I see it is this. John is bugging again. That special agent, some dude that's at the range, That's the accountant. God damn it. Remember the accountant, Ben Affleck? That's who that is. That's the damn accountant. They're gonna be. We want to talk to that man. Yes, the accountant. Man, shoot. He said his area is cool, a lot easier approaching females as a black person, but I do miss some aspects of America. Hopefully, when the insanity calms down, I'll go to visit. I'm telling you, Retro, it's never coming back, unfortunately. This country and everything is damaged beyond repair. And guess who screwed it up? Not the person they keep telling you did it. You see, that's the key point right there. They keep trying to inform you somebody else ruined the country, but the people who did ruin this country is higher ups like them who've done nothing for this country, but run it into the ground. That's all they did. They ran the country into the ground. Wall Street, bankers. They took from this country and ran it into the ground. Yeah, well, people have to figure that out on their own, but that's the I would say the overall position. So when you look at the overall position and you say, "Oh, okay, I get it now." This is what they mean. This is what people mean when they say, "Hey, I see what's going on here, and yeah, it's not done right, and yeah, you want to make sure you're in a position that's best for you." Mm-hmm. Somebody is saying now that it was some type of device that he had around his neck. It was like, yo, you see that? That's like a blood pack. So it's all kind of craziness that goes on that these people keep trying to reiterate as something to make a conspiracy out of it. I said, no, that guy was assassinated or they took his life. Yes, it had a message engraved into the shells. Yes, it did. Again, why are we talking Democrats? Again, When every time somebody bring up something, the Democrats ain't giving black people reparations. They're over here risking their life for criminal gang members. Johnson, you must be delusional. If you want to give reparations, right? Who makes that decision? Mr. Johnson, who makes that decision? Isn't Trump the president of the United States? Okay, so you saying the Democrats are the only people that can give out reparations? Is that only black people are under Democratic states? What about the states that are Republican? That the Republicans are in charge of? You think there's no black people there? And so the Republicans want to give black people reparations, and it's the Democrats that don't want to do it. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Johnson? They got a hate crime bill. Exactly, they did. So where's the Republicans giving us ours? You see what I said about Republicans and, conservatives, and you guys are in denial. You see what I'm saying? You mention one thing and they go right back to blaming Democrats on a whole different level. Now y'all are seeing it live. This is what denial looks like. Complete deniability of any type. What about the Democrats? The Democrats did this. The Democrats did that. And Outlaw just woke up and remembered he's still talking about state of emergency. We give them the biggest vote share. Really? Wrong. The reason why blacks don't get reparations is, do you realize that in Illinois, they did give blacks reparations for slavery? Actually, the town of Evanston, Illinois, which is, again, about 15 to 20 minutes away from where I'm living. It's right by Skokie. E-Town. And do you know when they put those reparations in place for the blacks for slavery, do you know that they had requirements? They had to prove that they were basically black. They was like, well, it doesn't mean that your family was involved in slavery. So we got to go through your ancestry. We got to go through this. We got to go through that. They were disqualifying black people. I'm like, how you gonna disqualify black people? Well, it says here in your lineage, you came from like the West End. You got some West Indian in you. So you're from the West Indies. You didn't come up through slavery. So yeah. So they disqualified almost all of these people, and then they were only giving them like $1,200. So it was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Do you know that I want y'all to understand this? Do you know that the Holocaust was about 20 years? Lasted for about 20 years, right? And the Jewish people got billions of dollars here in the United States. They got billions. And annually they get billions. So the Pope didn't declare anything about slavery except for after about 400, 300 years of slavery, the Pope finally apologized in the 90s. He says, "We apologize for slavery. It was wrong." The Jewish people got billions of dollars, but they want to give black people an apology. What kind of amount of money do you think the black people are owed for 400 years of oppression and slavery, taken from one country and brought to another? Being forced labor, everything for over 400 years. How much you think that would be if for 20 years the Jewish people got annually billions? It wouldn't even be in the trillions. Now you're going to zillions. And now you're going into a realm of impossibility. So if you're going to give all the black people, right, access to generational wealth, what does that do to the white person in America? They lose their power. Their power is gone. So with that power gone, they're done. With that power gone, they are done. DOOOONE. Done. Now, he said, our Holocaust was worldwide? No, it was not worldwide. That was Hitler's thing. But because people escaped, they went to Canada, they came here, they tried to go into Russia for protection. And some of them got in there. Then Russia figured out what was happening and said, "Nah, y'all not coming in here. We don't want nothing to do with y'all problems." So it was a very trying time during those eras. But slavery was worldwide. We were shipped all across, even in Europe. People dying in transportation over there. Some would rather face, their demise than go to slavery. They were jumping into the waters. And some were being violated, during the transportation. And it was just vile, very vile and wicked. Now, because of all these unhinged behaviors and iniquities, how much do you think it would be worth? There's no way you could put a dollar on it. Start with land. So people are going to have to give up land to give it to you? What do you think that's going to do when white folks would immediately become a minority? They're seen as in a position of authority. You do understand that. A position of authority is what they basically oppress you with to this day. Your police officer, your fire chief, your principal of your school, right? Your superintendent. They were always in a position of authority. So when you saw a white person, you would straighten up. Oh, okay. Oh, come on, white guy. They straighten up. They talk different. It was a whole different thing because your whole life, they were already in a position of authority over you from the beginning. And they kept that in you. Then when you go to work, your boss is white. The supervisor, the one who owns the company, he's white. So you're not seeing yourself or anybody like you in a position of authority over you. So you don't end up respecting Black people or people that look like you. No matter if they're the boss or the supervisor. You look at them as if they just like you. You're not really the boss. And that's how mental brainwash works. This is why they put them in positions of power or govern and rule over you. Well, everyone has their own opinions, right? Everyone will say that. Oh, it's his opinion. It's so-and-so's thoughts, his opinions. If that's the case, why can't people go to the history of when something came into fruition, right? Or let's say, well, if we're gonna go that route and we're gonna talk this way about it, well, then let's talk about the whole thing. Why we only talk about a portion? Well, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But you'll see in the end what's really going on. And once you find out what's really going on, then people can, take it from there. But it is what it is. Look, he said, a black woman gave up her perceived leverage in the black household or their illusion of power that they believe the demonic Democrats are giving them. Oh my God. Johnson, what power was the Republican given to black women, if any? The Democrats cater to black women because they know the black man gonna do what the black woman wants to happen, period. So instead of preaching to black men to go out and vote, they know the women control the majority of the household. So if the man is staying there, definitely he's not going to vote opposite of what his woman vote, or he might be feeling the same way as his woman. So they're going to preach to the woman. The Republicans preach to the males because in the conservative household, they preach that the man's word is law and that's it. And we're going to follow the man, and that's the way it goes. So they don't preach to the women. They don't politic to the women. So that's why any woman going to conservatives for women's rights, it's going to be like, you got the right to shut up. That's how they run things over there. And don't forget, womanizing, covering it up, cheating, affairs, corruption. Cheating, never paying taxes, but complaining about people ruining the economy. Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? Israel did it. So Israel's going to come over here to the United States and go to Utah so that this event can happen. That's crazy. Yeah, I was just telling them that. Yeah, I know. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm getting messages now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'm gonna holler at you guys later. It's been cool reading y'all messages. And Johnson over here, he is biting. Let these black. What do the? Tell me this, Johnson. What are you guys doing for black women, black people? Tell me what the Republicans are doing. All you telling me is what the Democrats are not doing. You're in denial. So we'll wait. We'll let you fill this in. If they're doing nothing, what are y'all doing for them? We're waiting, Johnson. Oh, pretty much. And all we're saying, Johnson, is that you have to show action from the other side to say one side isn't showing any action. So if they're all talking no action, then what are the Republicans? You see how we talk about denial? So if you call one side out for doing something, you have to at least say, well, damn, then maybe the other side is doing something, you know? Like if I'm sitting there calling somebody out like, hey, man, you know what? You don't never clean up and you don't never wash the dishes. And they'd be like, you don't clean up and wash the dishes either. How I'm going to call somebody else out when they not doing anything either? It's 90% for the Democrat. And let me guess, only 10? Well, clearly you don't follow policy. But all right, let me go ahead and take care of this. I'm going to holler at y'all later. One.